watch. With us, Rodney Scott, former U.S. Border Patrol Chief, Distinguished Senior Fellow for Border Security at the Texas Policy Foundation. I think to normal viewers, Rodney, and to sort of just any American who doesn't understand the border in the way you do or in the way Allie does or some of us who've covered it does, what she said just there is a lot to take in, but really profoundly shocking and concerning. And I'm wondering if you find it that shocking or if it's just business as normal in South Texas.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit business as usual, but it doesn't make the tragedies any less horrific. And the nationalities are irrelevant. Any death is horrific. The problem that we have along the southwest border today is that it's literally an open border and the cartels are getting to pick and choose who enters our country instead of us. The border has never been secure, but the border over my 30-year career was getting more and more secure every single day. We were getting better at identifying each person that came across that border and being able to respond more and more effectively. Unfortunately, when this administration walked away from all those effective policies, we lost control of the border. And I mean, I hate to say it, but you're going to probably see more incidents like this because we're literally letting millions of people into our country that we don't know who they are. And then this current administration has walked away from interior enforcement.
So when you name specifics like that, especially if you're speaking to the administration, so what do you need? I know there's an $80,000 reward for this particular suspect. This is someone who you're familiar with. But when you talk about things that you need, specifically, what is it?
So to bring it home to the viewers, really, border security gets overly complicated, and you got to separate illegal immigration from legal immigration. Border security is simply knowing who and what is entering our home, just like your own personal home. How do we do that? We put barriers along the border, we put Border Patrol agents on the border, and we put situational awareness, meaning cameras and technology on the border, so that we can make people come through our front door, and then that's the legal ports of entry, and then we make a conscious decision about who gets to come and stay in this country. Right now, we can't do that. And then once people do get into the country that we don't necessarily believe they should be here illegally or they commit a crime and they're from a foreign nation, normally ICE would step in and then help search those people down. But ICE is currently overwhelmed, as well as U.S. Border Patrol, with this massive influx of the border. And current policies have restricted them from doing their job. It really comes down to a policy issue. We should not be releasing people that enter the United States illegally into the United States. They should be detained or they should be held outside the United States until a judge adjudicates their case. It's basically common sense. That stops the flow, that puts more agents on patrol, and that lets them identify the real criminals that are trying to get around.
Hey, Rodney, how worried are you about the lifting of Title 42? Do you think claims that resources will be immediately overwhelmed are exaggerated? Do you think the administration and CBP are capable of handling this?
They're not capable of handling it because they're not handling it today. And you can go to any Border Patrol agent on the line. Don't go to Mayorkas. Don't go to senior leadership. Go ask some Border Patrol agents. Is the border secure today? Do you know who's coming in? And they will tell you no. They're totally overwhelmed with fraudulent asylum claims. They're not out patrolling the border. They're leaving hundreds and hundreds of miles open every single day today. When Title 42 goes away, it'll just get worse. But Title 42, let's be honest, is a distraction right now. It's a health regulation that this administration is using as a prop. This administration tore down all the effective border security policies, the border wall system, which was a smart wall, the Remain in Mexico program.
Rodney, I just want to be fair to the administration, we'll just play you Secretary Mayorkas and Ted Gonzalez on Face the Nation. Take a listen.
The resources will enable us to move more quickly, more efficiently within a broken immigration system. So I just want to be clear that we are working within significant constraints. We need people. We need technology. We need facilities. We need transportation resources.
Just throwing money at a problem doesn't solve the issue. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go, where is the money going? How does DHS, instead of getting a blank check, how do we give them money to the things that are going to help secure the border?
Yeah, look, reasonable people can agree that this probably has a lot more to do with policy than it does with resources. If people understand that they're not going to come into the United States and get to stay here, then they stop coming. They stop being willing to risk life and limb. And is for all the great parts about America that people want to come for, they go about it a different way. Specific to the case of the illegal immigrant who killed the 5 allegedly in Texas, if he's back in Mexico, which if you can get one way on the border, you can get the other way on the border, what's the chance of really realistically catching him?
It's going to be very difficult. Mexico does cooperate in many situations like this. Unfortunately, they will not send him back to the United States if he's facing the death penalty, but they will help track him down in many cases. But they don't have the resources down there either, so it's going to be a very, very big challenge.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.